It's still very much a political season in Nigeria. Politics does not go away until after, May 29th. I mean, it just never goes away, does it? Well, how did President Goodluck Jonathan lose the 2015 election? Who else can tell you that story than somebody who served on his cabinet? Here's a reading. Enjoy this.
Hi, my name is Bolaji Abdullahi. I'm the author of this book on a platter of gold, How Jonathan Won and Lost Nigeria. I was minister under President Jonathan's government. I was specifically Minister of Sports. I was part of the story of that time. And this book is an account of what I knew and the experience I've had and the experience of other people within the political history of Nigeria during this period. I'm reading now from the introduction part of the book that starts with a quote from the wife of President Jonathan himself, Dame Patience Jonathan, who said, the presidency is an opportunity that fell onto us on a platter of gold. We didn't fight, we didn't pay. God willed it to us. As you can see, the title of the book was taken from this statement by Mrs. Jonathan. The book starts this way. In April 2015, a phenomenal political event happened in Nigeria. For the first time in the nation's history, a sitting president was defeated in an election. Perhaps more significantly, he conceded defeat and handed power to the opposition. He was hailed a hero, the new African hero of democracy. But what went wrong? Only 4 years earlier, President Goodluck Jonathan was easily one of the most popular presidents on the African continent. His meteoric rise to power was nothing short of miraculous. From an unknown lecturer, he rose to become a deputy governor, a vice president, and then president of Africa's largest democracy, without a single vote to his name. Jonathan came a long way in an incredibly short time. When he decided to contest in 2011, he declared that growing up as the son of a fisherman in the creeks of Nigeria's Niger Delta, he had no shoes. This message resonated with millions of poor Nigerians who saw their own aspirations reflected in his amazing grass to grace story. If I can make it, then you can as well, he had said. When he opened his Facebook page, he connected with Nigeria's 60 million youth population who felt he brought the awesome power of the president down to their level. At a point, he was declared the most followed president on Facebook in the world with close to 2 million followers. He went on to win the 2011 election with the highest majority vote ever recorded in the country's history. In Nigeria's complex politics of identity, Jonathan represented many of the country's social categories. The poor could connect with him, he was one of them. The minority ethnic groups, who easily constitute a new majority when put together, saw one of their own coming to power through a popular election for the first time in Nigeria. The young people could feel him. He was the youngest president ever. The intellectuals could relate with him. He was the first president to hold a doctorate. The Christians could relate with him because he gave a Christian face to a country in which the two major religions live in perpetual fear of domination of one by the other. 4 years later, President Jonathan had gone full circle, from the faultless to the clueless. At some point, a quick Google search produced his name as the most cursed president in the world. How did this happen? How could an individual's political fortunes change so quickly and so dramatically? These questions and many more will be the central concern of this book. It is sometimes tempting to underestimate the enormity of Jonathan's incredible rise to the highest office in the land, until one has compared his credentials with those of the giants who aspired to the same office in the past, some with fatal consequences. One of them was Obafemi Awolowo, a man of such commanding intellect and moral authority. In modern Yoruba mythology, he was the reincarnation of Oduduwa, the progenitor of the Yoruba race himself. He asked every national question, he answered them all. Twice he contested elections to be president of Nigeria, twice he failed. Nnamdi Azikiwe was such a towering personality that Nigeria was almost too small for the breadth of his vision. He was in the class of that incredible generation of Africa's post-independence greats, Kwame Nkrumah, Haile Selassie, Ahmed Sekou Toure, Jomo Kenyatta, Julius Nyerere, etc. Twice, the iconic Zik of Africa tried to be president. Twice, he failed. Shehu Musa Yaradua had a mixed pedigree of aristocracy and political power. His father, who held the traditional title of the Mutawale of Katsina Emirate, was Nigeria's first minister of Lagos Affairs. At 36, he was a major general and chief of staff, Supreme Headquarters, a position that made him the second in command to the head of state, Olusegun Obasanjo. Yaradua was the leader of PDM, a political organization with an incredible network of relationships and a formidable army of astute politicians in every part of the country. He sought to be president in 1992 on the platform of SDP and was the leading candidate before the military government of Ibrahim Babangida cancelled the process. That turned out to be the end of Yaradua's presidential ambition. He was to die in prison in 1997. Moshood Kashimawo Abiola will be remembered as the man who turned personal generosity into political power. MKO knew everybody that was anybody in Nigeria, and they knew him. He wanted to be president in 1983 on the platform of the National Party of Nigeria, NPN, which he helped to finance. He was shunted off by party stalwarts and left the party to nurse his wounds, only to return in 1993 as the presidential candidate of the SDP. He won the election, but the Babangida administration cancelled the results, ushering in a period of political struggle that culminated in MKO's death in 1998. Goodluck Jonathan could not hold a candle to any of these men. He did not belong to the same firmament as them, nor did he purport to even think that he could play their game. If he had ended his career as a lecturer, he would have thanked God for a fulfilled life. But Providence had other plans. Like Mrs. Jonathan herself said, the presidency of Nigeria was handed to her husband on a platter of gold. Some would say he also lost it on a platter of gold.